In this video, we're going to talk about the changes coming to the Slaanesh aesthetic.
Okay.
Welcome Wargamers, my name is Doug with 2 Plus Stuff, and I just wanted to chat a little bit about the new models that we see being released for Wrath and Rapture. We're starting to get some better pictures of particularly the Slaanesh Harp player, and I just want to take a minute and acknowledge the fact that this is one of the coolest models ever. Let's check it out. So here we are checking out the new Harp player. First of all, technically great looking model in terms of like just the aesthetics of all the different basically the strings going down the center. Of course, if you take a good look at it, you are looking at someone kneeling on the ground as basically they are the harp. This could be their tendons or cords, all that stuff being used as a super metal instrument. Incredibly cool. I absolutely love it. I wanted to take some time to just kind of gush about this model, and the reason I want to do that is because I had talked before on this channel about what I want out of the new Slaanesh kind of direction. I don't just want to talk about sex. There's so much more to God of excess and stuff like that than it is just sexual pleasure. Though that's a part of it, but I think obviously that model, or that thought is very well represented with the model line now, but I want to move past that. I want to go deeper, and I think this model does so. Consider for a moment that a lot of the physical pleasures that have already been depicted are all about self-gratification, right? You physically feel good, and that's why it lends itself very well to sexual gratification, that kind of stuff. However, looking at this is someone taking pleasure in someone else's suffering. It has to do with somebody else, not with the self. This is where you kind of move away from the dark hedonist stuff. It still is hedonist, but it's more into the inflicting punishment. This is really a model where the joy is not in personal gratification necessarily when it comes to self-indulgence and things like that, but it is the inflicting of punishment on others that is the source of gratification. And I absolutely love it. I think we're going to see some really, really cool tortured stuff coming. This shift away from just the self-gratification and into the inflicting punishment on others as the source of gratification, I think is going to be a hallmark of hopefully this model line. By that I mean I want to see other people being tortured and turn into some dark, twisty, super nasty way of using that on the battlefield. Now, as far as what I think this model will actually do in the game, likely it's going to probably be something akin to like the Sloppity Bilepiper, which is an infantry hero who buffs infantry nearby. I have no sources for that. That's just kind of the theme that I get when I think about the other hero that was released in support of demons, and then this one also coming out. But of course, this release is not in a vacuum. As cool as this model is, and it is to me extremely cool in terms of the dark fantasy aspects of it, there are more things coming out, and we've already seen some pictures of them, but let's bring up those fiends. Now, for comparison's sake, I think people forget, I've seen a lot of criticisms of these models, but when we compare it to the old fiend, which is the Derposaurus Rex, I absolutely get, first of all, why it needed a model update, but also, more importantly, how it fits into the greater aesthetic. Besides just kind of looking better in general, these truly do fit into the model range for the current Slaanesh things as they are now. For example, those legs, the actual 4 legs, which are kind of strange because the back 2 look like they're backwards, they really are very, very reminiscent of the Seeker legs of their actual like cavalry. So I think it just aesthetically fits in a lot better. They did keep a lot of the same elements like the head, which people are very hit or miss on. It's up to personal flavor. If I'm honest, I'm not super into the models. However, that being said, I think they are a technical achievement. They look fantastic in terms of, look at all the jewels and stuff on the straps that go down the center of the chest. The claws look awesome. The tails look super dynamic in terms of this one here, especially on the right. It looks like it has a sense of motion. It just looks like a creature that is both horrifying, and what I want them to focus on in the lore is how weirdly elegant these things are. One of my favorite parts of reading the early Age of Sigmar books is actually from the Rumgate Wars, where they first meet a Great Unclean One. This is long before Games Workshop released Nurgle stuff. And they describe this creature that is just huge and fat and gross and bulbous, but he moves in a way that is just, it's so quick and agile that it wrecks your brain to think about something that big being that agile. Much in the same way, I want that same sense to come through narratively when I read a book about these demons, right? I want them to look terrifying and then also have that same kind of like, it messes with people's brains just looking at it because all of their motions are very elegant. It looks beautiful even though it's a horrific thing. Point is, even if you don't like the models, they can still absolutely be used in a narrative sense to convey what Slaanesh is trying to do. Also keep in mind that people who see these demons and don't run, meaning the followers of Slaanesh, are oftentimes like hopped up on some super drugs, and so by that reckoning, they don't necessarily see what we see now. Something that is strange and alien can be perceived as beautiful and elegant when you're all hopped up on stuff. So that's really it for the video. Really the main thing I wanted to show off was this amazing picture of the Harpist, which I absolutely love. Her gown is beautiful. Obviously the harp itself, or himself because it's a dude, being tortured is just, to me, it's darker than I expected them to go, and I'm absolutely grateful for it because it makes me feel like we're heading in a direction where Slaanesh is getting back to what Slaanesh should be, which is inflicting things on other people and finding ecstasy in that, and also excess, but including but not limited to sexual excess. I want to see books where Stormcast Eternals are like literally, like sincerely tempted by the nature of what Slaanesh has to offer. I think it's great fodder for it. I mean, it's great to think of our heroes as being incorruptible. I'm not saying we should have Chaos Stormcast or anything like that necessarily, but I mean, I want heroes to have to evaluate themselves. You have a bunch of the realm's best heroes from eons past, right? I mean, you figure the what are the black armored ones there? I mean, they're from Slaanesh, from the Age of Myth. Like, they've been around for forever, perfecting the way that they do war. That is the exact kind of fertile ground that Slaanesh thrives in. And I want that very understandable sense of this could go down the wrong path to be contrasted with personal glory, like they actively want the things that Slaanesh has to offer, but also being confronted with the absolute horror of what Slaanesh is, meaning this thing right here. So friends, that's really it. No super in-depth video, but I wanted to take a minute, first of all, because I haven't seen a lot of pictures of the harp. I've just seen a few trickling out here and there. Wanted to get your thoughts on them. Leave in the comments down below. As always with these videos, it's the start of a discussion. I want to hear your thoughts. What are you hoping to see in the Slaanesh release? I'm not talking about rules. I think Slaanesh is pretty well defined when it comes to rules in the sense of a lot of movement, a lot of super fast glass cannony stuff. It's very well defined. I think that's great. That's awesome. That's a great counterbalance to, say, Khorne and Nurgle in particular. But I mean narrative sense, like, let's go with AOS first. Or what do you want in terms of Slaanesh being freed, in terms of the shift away from just focusing on the sexual nature of stuff, but including all the other things, like the inflicting pain on people, the pursuit of greatness, and the folly that that can lead to. I think has some epic stories when we talk about the nature of heroes in the fantasy world, like Age of Sigmar. Then on the 40k side, I guess I don't think this really changes as much for Slaanesh. I mean, books like Fulgrim really took a good step in establishing that Slaanesh can be more than just the physical hedonism. There's also the sense of perfection and stuff like that. So I think it's less of a divergence there, but I still think it's an important step. So tell me your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll get to talking about it. Again, I'm very excited for Wrath and Rapture to be coming out. I don't really know anything special or unique about it, but I'm super stoked for that box. You guys hang in there, and I'll see you next time. Happy wargaming. Hey Wargamers, thank you so much for watching that video. Be sure to hit subscribe and click the little bell notification icon so you're alerted to all new videos coming out.